Lights out. First tonight on Our News Live at 7, an hours-long blackout leaves half of New Providence in the dark fighting the heat. This latest setback adding pressure to a week marred by protests, all related to unreliable power supply. The Energy Minister talks reforms as residents react. Also, a gruesome find. Police investigate the body of a man found bound and stabbed in waters off southwestern New Providence. And BGCSE results show only 11% of nearly 6,000 candidates earned grade C or above in 5 or more subjects. Tonight, education officials defend the outcomes. And then in our news at 7:30, a night of crime leads 4 gunmen to your favorite Harbor Bay coffee shop. Investigators say they stole 4 cash registers. Our News Live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marlena Leonard, in for Candino Knowles. Last night's major power outage left nearly half of Nassau in the dark, according to Energy Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis. This comes as power struggles across the country took center stage this week, with residents on multiple islands protesting unreliable and costly electricity services. Speaking on the sidelines of a National Development Plan workshop this morning, the Energy Minister and opposition leader addressed the overnight blackout and growing concerns over the nation's energy supplies.
There's a cable fault that sent a trip to our generation on Clifton Pier plant, and so we had to cut off some of the feeders and try to isolate that fault and slowly bring persons back online. So particular areas you would have seen was coming on a little faster. We noticed that we had to do a little bit of more work on the transmission line because of that, and that resulted in an extended period of some other areas being out.
Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis addressed last night's blackout on New Providence. Hours after Bahamas Power and Light reported power was fully restored just before 4 a.m. Friday. The power company apologized to customers in the statement, calling the event unpredictable, and said the island had not experienced any major system disturbance in over a year. Even so, the power struggles aren't limited to the capital. Earlier this week, frustrated Harbor Island residents protested in the streets over their own unreliable power supply. Similar protests also happened in Grand Bahama. Opposition leader Michael Pintard calls the constant outages unacceptable and a potential health hazard.
Of course, we do not have reliability. The worst possible case is in Eleuthera, North and South, Mangrove Key, Michael, and New Providence. And this has potentially devastating impact on the economy, but I'm certainly interested in the health of people. Persons need the electricity to cool their medication. Some persons have machines at home that are attached.
The Energy Minister says it's a perfect example of the strain the existing infrastructure is under.
The state of the country's infrastructure, transmission and distribution line is to the point where we are pulling and demanding a certain number of voltage of power to be generated in various homes and various businesses, but the system is trying its best to provide that, and it's very stressed and strained, and so there's urgency and great urgency for us to put the immediate focus, attention, and to make sure that we're communicating with the public.
And our Joshua Williams spoke to some of those residents affected in last night's blackout. Stay tuned for their perspective and frustrations coming up in our news at 7:30. And the leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Pintard, also weighing in on the power issues across the country. This as Grand Bahama residents are at their breaking point with the Grand Bahama Power Company after weeks of battling frequent power outages and skyrocketing electricity bills. Tensions have now reached a boiling point with GBPC's recent request for a rate hike from its regulator, the Grand Bahama Port Authority. On Monday, a crowd took part in a protest in front of GBPC's headquarters on East Atlantic Drive. That same day, over on the island of Eleuthera, more than 350 Harbor Island residents demonstrated over ongoing power issues that have crippled many Eleuthera communities this summer. The latest BPL issue, last night's blackout on New Providence, left about 50% of customers without power. Pintard slamming government for how they're handling the power issues on the various islands.
Isn't it interesting, though, that the chairman and some of his operatives in Grand Bahama were conveniently in Grand Bahama talking about the power costs, and we support anyone who's going to protest against the power company. However, We don't see them outside of BPL. Are they not concerned? We didn't see them in Eleuthera addressing this issue. Are they not concerned about the fact? So what we want is a holistic approach. We want action to make sure the Grand Bahama Power Company does not do what it is interested in doing in Grand Bahama, but we want similar kind of urgency. We want it in Eleuthera. We want it in Mangrove Key. We want it in Michael. We want it in New Providence.
Police found the body of a man yesterday in southwestern New Providence, marking the country's 80th homicide. Police say just before 4:30 p.m., they received reports of a man found submerged in waters behind an abandoned building on the Southwest Road. Officers from the Marine Unit and Western Division responded to that call. Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for crime, Roberto Goodman, updated media at the scene.
EMS was also contacted. Along with those officers and EMS, it was able to retrieve this body from the waters, where officers noticed on this body that it had multiple what appeared to be stab wounds about the body. Also that this body was also bound by the hands and feet.
This latest homicide followed another in Bimini earlier that day. Now police say they need your help with this matter, as the details are still unclear.
What I can tell you now is that we're still at the early stage of this investigation. This male appears to be in his early, maybe but mid-20s or late 20s. We're actively investigating this matter at this particular time, and we ask anyone who could assist us at this time that they could call us at CID at 502-9911 at 502-9975.
Are you able to say?
The Department of Education on the defensive following the release of this year's national exam results, which, although saw a slight improvement, still saw only 17% of candidates getting a D or above in 5 BGCSE subjects. Education officials say the results do not give an accurate picture, as they can be taken over 3 years. And it's an issue they say they're looking to address. Berthia McDermott reports.
Of the 5,935 candidates that sat the Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education exam, only 653 or 11% of candidates received a C grade or above in 5 or more subjects. That figure shows a 1.09% increase compared to 2023. However, when suggested the numbers appeared to be dismal, education officials quickly went on the defense.
We see the 3% improvement as a success. We are really thankful to our team members for what they have done. And so that may be your narrative, but it's not ours.
We have seen improvement in this year, and we are encouraged, and teachers and administrators and this ministry and parents have worked very hard in this country.
Education Director Dominique McCartney-Russell says it's expected there will be incremental improvements over the years. The Ministry of Education also reporting 431 candidates received at least a C or above in mathematics, English language, and a science subject, representing 7.26% of overall candidates. It's an increase of 123 candidates. The report also revealed an increase in results in both male and female candidates. As for the BJC, of the 10,745 candidates, 1,388 candidates received a C or above in 5 or more subjects, or 12.92% of candidates. Additionally, 1,298 candidates received at least a C or above in mathematics, English, and a science subject, or 12.08% of the overall candidates. This area saw a decrease of 0.74%.
Year over year, 2024 was very comparable to 2023. For males, there is a year-over-year increase in percentages for A and B grades.
However, the education director says the exam results do not display an exact picture.
The composition of those subjects are taken over a 3-year period, and so they cannot be compared.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthia McDermott.
The Lynden Pindling International Airport has achieved a significant milestone, welcoming a record 4.06 million passengers in fiscal year 2024. This surpasses the previous record of 3.99 million passengers set in fiscal year 2019. LPIA also set a previous calendar year passenger record of 4.1 million in 2019 and is on track to surpass that number by December of this year. LPIA Vice President of Marketing Jan Knowles says they hope to increase those numbers.
The demand for Nassau Paradise Island continues to be very strong, and post-pandemic LPIA has seen tremendous growth. Numbers for July, the first month of fiscal year 2025, show strong performance with over 412,000 passengers traveling through LPIA.
As Noel says, numbers for July show strong performance with more than 412,000 total passengers traveling through LPIA. That's a 2.8% increase above the previous year. Officials also anticipate the same trends in August.
And as passenger numbers continue to grow, airport stakeholders are committed to enhancing connectivity, improving the overall guest experience, and sustaining growth at the country's main gateway.
It's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene, and happy DGIF. Much better conditions around the islands. We did have a lot of clouds around, so temperatures did not get too high. Those heat indices hovering just near the 100-degree mark, but we're comfortable outside. 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Slight breeze out there, east-northeast winds at 30 miles per hour. You feel like temperature but comfortable 93. It's still a little bit on the warm, but yeah, we'll take 93 versus 100. Current temperatures around the islands right now, it's 84 in Freeport as well as in Governor's Harbor here in the capital. Alistown, Bimini, Nichols, San Andres, you guys have some showers and thunderstorms nearby, so you got rain, cool to 83. Marshall, Abaco, 83 there. Great Harbor Key, you pick up 85. Into the central Bahamas, 82 in Kemps Bay. 84s, Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn, Thompson, Salvador, and in Georgetown. Deadman's Key, Long Island, 86 degrees there. And into the southeast Bahamas, more 85s popping up. In Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, my favorite spot there. Abrams Bay, 84. Matthewtown, Inagua, and Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands, you guys have 86 at this hour. Satellite radar composite. There is a weak boundary that drifted into the northwest Bahamas overnight. That boundary is basically now across the central Bahamas. Some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms associated with that boundary. Most of the activity now into the Gulf Stream. Andros, you're getting some showers and some isolated thunderstorms. This boundary will continue to side towards the south. Should get into the southeast Bahamas by tomorrow, but we expect this boundary to lift back up towards us by Sunday, so we could see some spotty showers once again in the forecast. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your weekend forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, Nassau Cruise Port is hosting its Summerfest tomorrow to mark the end of summer. And our coverage of Team Bahamas and the Goodwill Games continues. Sasha Lightbourne brings us the latest from St. Lucia in Our News at 7:30. But up next, 10th Year Seniors has your first look at sports. Stay with us.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th, only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Marknut. Let's do show. The Goodwill Games are underway in St. Lucia, and an optimistic Team Bahamas is looking to repeat as champions. To do that, they'll have to prepare their bodies and have a strict recovery process. This is where physiotherapist Jenna Gibson comes in.
Because they have so many races to swim, we want to make sure that they're able to function at an optimal level. So we make sure that they're hydrated, we make sure that they're stretched, we make sure that they have any aches and pains, move any lactic acid out the way.
Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty continued their chase to a WNBA title last night. The Liberty defeated the Los Angeles Sparks 103-68 to improve to a league-leading 22-4 on the season. Jones finished with 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. New York is 9-1 over the last 10 games. Jones scored 5 points as New York opened the game on a 10-0 run. New York led by 19 after the first quarter. Jones reached another career milestone Thursday night when she became just the 12th player in WNBA history with more than 3,500 points, 2,000 rebounds, and 300 blocks. She's also the 4th fastest player to reach 3,500 points while shooting better than 50% from the field.
VJ Edgecombe and AJ Storr were featured among the top collegiate basketball prospects in America at an event hosted by a future NBA Hall of Famer. Both players were selected to Damian Lillard's Formula Elite Zero camp in Phoenix, Arizona. Lillard and his team handpicked 20 of the top high school players and 20 of the top college players across the United States for this event. All 30 NBA teams are in attendance. There will be character development sessions throughout each day in addition to on-court instruction and gameplay. Storr heads into his junior season and is first with the Kansas Jayhawks, while Edgecombe heads into his true freshman year with the Baylor Bears. Both players were a part of the senior men's national team program this summer in their historic run towards Olympic qualification. That'll do it for Our Sports at 7. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more. Back to the studio.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as a prison break in central Haiti marks its 3rd for the year. Plus, Sweden reports its first case of Mpox, now the first occurrence of the more contagious variant of the virus outside Africa. And the story of how a police sniper potentially saved lives by shooting and damaging the rifle of the gunman targeting Donald Trump. We have the details when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I right here on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Inmates broke out of a prison in Saint-Marc, Haiti on Friday as the country continues to battle ongoing gang violence. Police reported the break and suspect guards may have been complicit, following reports that prison staff went on strike demanding better treatment. Gunfire was reportedly heard near the prison, with videos showing smoke and fire. Authorities haven't confirmed how many inmates escaped and are seeking public assistance. This marks the third prison break in Haiti this year. And Sweden reported its first case of Mpox on Thursday, marking the first occurrence of the more contagious variant of the virus outside Africa. The infection, linked to a recent outbreak in Africa, was confirmed just a day after the World Health Organization declared Mpox a global public health emergency. Health officials confirmed the case involves the more severe Clade 1 strain. The infected individual is receiving appropriate care, according to Sweden's public health agency. And a police sniper in Butler, Pennsylvania, potentially saved lives by shooting and damaging the rifle of a gunman targeting Donald Trump, according to an investigation by Congressman Clay Higgins. The sniper's shot disrupted the assailant's aim moments before the gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was fatally shot by a Secret Service sniper. The attack, which left 1 dead and 2 critically injured, has led to heightened security around Trump, including the reassignment of Secret Service agents from President Biden and plans for bulletproof glass at future rallies. The FBI is investigating the incident. Still to come in Our News, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was August 16th. And then in Our News at 7:30, New Providence residents outraged after last night's massive power outage leaves thousands in darkness. BPL blames a generator trip at Clifton Pier. And the trial of a $1.4 million armored car theft is adjourned to February. This as the key suspect's lawyer requests evidence disclosure when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1939, the world's first undersea post office opened in waters off New Providence. The official name was Seafloor, Nassau, Bahamas. The photosphere was so famous, the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell, came to the Bahamas to see it for himself. John Ernest Williamson, who was born in Liverpool, England, brought his incredible invention to the Bahamas in February 1914. There was nothing like it in the world and made the Bahamas famous in the early 20th century. Then 42 years later in 1981, Levan Sands was born in Nassau. Sands is a track and field athlete specializing in the long jump and triple jump. In 2020, the Bahamas recorded a new single-day record of COVID-19 cases. Health officials reported 133 additional cases, with 102 of them on New Providence. At the time, there was a total of 1,252 cases nationwide. This, as it was also announced, then opposition leader Philip Davis and then Senator Dr. Michael Darvo were both seeking medical attention out of an abundance of caution after Davis tested positive for the virus. He was the first MP to report contracting COVID-19.
I'm in hospital, receiving excellent care. My family and I thank you for the many prayers and well wishes we have received.
And finally, in 2022, 51-year-old Craig Johnson was sentenced to 21 years in prison, 10 years after stabbing his girlfriend 23 times. 33-year-old Shaka Khan Moss was killed in front of their children and other witnesses following an argument at a funeral repast on August 22, 2009. Johnson, who was out on bail for 7 years, took responsibility and pleaded guilty ahead of his trial.
The Nassau Cruise Port is hosting their Summerfest this Saturday to mark the end of summer. We spoke to Assistant Events Manager Aisha Roll, who says this year they're collaborating with a local production company to bring you the best in Bahamian talent.
This summer, we decided to collaborate with Three-Way Entertainment to help produce this show. So this show is going to be an extensive showcase of Bahamian talent. We have the Batai dancers, we have Elon Moxie, Ancient Man, Sweet Emily. We also have Shine, Avi, Veronica Bishop, Stelit, Wendy, Julian Believe, Shad Colley, and the VIPs are going to be backing them. We also have performances by Blotty and the Pond Band, as well as the Sky Juice Band.
The event promises entertainment for all ages and will also have activities for the kids.
This is a family affair, so bring the whole family out. Bring your kids, bring your mommy, bring your daddy, bring your Grammy, bring everybody out. We encourage everyone, to bring their chairs and blankets. Everybody knows by now. But we also will have available seating, but it is first come, first serve. We will have a kiddie corner that's going to activate from 4 p.m. We also have the Potcake Puppy Party that will be out there from 1 p.m. So if you guys want to come out a little earlier, come have breakfast, come have lunch, sit down and enjoy the entire port before the show starts at 4.
Well, that looks like it's going to be a great time. To watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, visit ournews.bs. That does it for our news at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia?
Thanks so much, Marlena. Well, New Providence residents outrage after last night's massive power outages, and the trial of a $1.4 million armored car theft is adjourned to February. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our news live at 7:30, New Providence residents outrage an hours-long outage due to what Bahamas Power and Light say was caused by issues at their power plant. Our Joshua Williams has a story coming up. Plus, the Energy Minister says ERCA is the electricity regulator in Grand Bahama. We'll tell you why straight ahead. Also, 4 gunmen steal cash registers from Starbucks Harbor Bay location. And later, a $1.4 million armored car theft trial adjourned to 2025. We have the full story when our news live at 7:30 returns.
Happiest, most peaceful, most congenial of all countries in the Western Hemisphere today was how the Prime Minister, Mr. Lyndon Pinding, described it in an Eve of Independence news conference. The preacher spoke of the Bahamians as a holy nation and a peculiar people, dependent now only on God.
I love my EV. I am Generation E.
I am Generation E. I am Generation E.
And I am Generation E.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you. At the airport. Welcome to our news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Well, thousands of residents left in the dark and dealing with the summer heat for several hours last night due to blackouts across New Providence. Bahamas Power and Light blaming a system trip for the blackout. Frustrated residents telling our Joshua Williams they're tired of the excuses. He took to the streets today and has this report.
It was very frustrating, man. It's hot during the day. Imagine the current go off during the night.
Thousands of Bahamas Power and Light customers plagued with last night's power outage that plunged half the island into darkness. A generator trip at the Clifton Pier Power Station around 9 p.m. the cause, according to BPL officials. Taking to the streets today, I found out how the issue impacted residents.
I was very terrible. I was hot, I was sweating, and the sweat was pouring off me.
How long your current was off?
The current went off for 10 minutes, then it came back on, and it went off again for another 5 minutes. Then it keep on coming off and on.
I don't think they should be having no issues with our power. That's just my 5 cents.
They also described their lights flickering on and off.
Going off again. Take a little longer to come back on. The wife come home. Really, I tell them, man, the current just come home, you know. So I laid my boys in the bed. When you look again, it got off again, dog. You know what I mean? Like, it keep going off. That's about 4 times. And the last time it gone off, it been off almost out. We had to go sit in the front room and open the door.
Social media was a sounding board for many. Posts like this one, where a resident said the blackout reminded her of the past. This resident said their electricity had been off for hours, and this woman claims her television was damaged, and she's not the only one.
You gotta bring all these stuff back in. It damaged all the internet, last night.
In a statement, BPL said that supply was lost to roughly half the customers in New Providence. They added that by 3:45 this morning, supply was fully restored.
And with this age-old issue continuing to plague taxpayers, I pose a question to them. What would you do to fix BPL?
Get some real people and move forward along with the plan that Mr. Frankie Wilson has in place.
But they need to improve whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. They're changing, they bring in new this and new that. I see other vehicles. I don't know what's going on.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Pintard, also speaking out on power issues across the country after weeks of battling frequent power outages, high electricity bills. Tension among Grand Bahamians reached a boiling point with GBPC's recent request for a rate hike from his regulator, the Grand Bahama Port Authority. On Monday, a crowd took part in a protest in front of GBPC's headquarters on East Atlantic Drive. Also on Monday, over on the island of Eleuthera, more than 350 Harbor Island residents protested over ongoing power issues that have crippled many Eleuthera communities this summer. And now the latest issue, a blackout on New Providence last night, leaving 50% of residents without electricity. Pintard says government hasn't included the opposition in the conversation. However, he says the FNM does not support GBPC's rate proposal at this time.
And especially at a time where the power company itself is having challenges in terms of consistency of electricity supply. While it is not as bad as BPL, it is significant enough given the state of Grand Bahama's economy. And then secondly, residents of Grand Bahama are struggling to make sure that we revitalize the economy, because certainly we can't rely on the government to execute that. To now put additional costs on the backs of Bahamians, we believe is unconscionable. And so we do not support it. And we believe that the government should collaborate with the opposition, should determine, really, and we should press to make sure that the regulator actually intervenes and make sure that this does not happen.
Now we are on the island of Grand Bahama following a number of stories. We also premiered City in Focus, the story of Freeport on August 7th, a weekly series sponsored by the GBPA that dives into the history of the Port Authority and the Hawksbill Creek Agreement amidst the current dispute between government and the GBPA. But coming up, we have the Grand Bahama Christian Council president sharing his thoughts on the state of Grand Bahama's economy as he calls for partnership between the GBPA and government. Well, Energy Minister JoBeth Colby Davis joining the public debate on who's the regulator of electricity in Grand Bahama. It's raged on for weeks after the Grand Bahama Power Company announced they'll be seeking a base rate hike of 6.3%. The crux of the issue is the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, which lists the GBPA as the regulator for electricity in Freeport, and the Electricity Act passed in May, which lists ERCA as the regulator for electricity across the country. On the sidelines of an international development bank think-tank workshop on the National Development Plan for the Bahamas. The energy minister backed up the Davis administration's view that the GBPA is not the regulator.
Well, I am quite certain who the regulator of the electricity sector in the country is, and that is ERCA. And so I am not quite sure of where the confusion lies. The legislation is clear, the law is clear, and ERCA is the country's regulator of the electricity sector, and that settles that for me.
Well, Starbucks Harbor Bay location was the scene of one of 4 armed robberies on Thursday. It happened just before 9 p.m. Police say that's when 4 gunmen walked into the store and stole their cash registers. Investigators aren't revealing how much money was taken during that robbery, but they did say the 4 suspects ran from the scene by heading south on Shirley Street. Now, if you have information that can help police solve the case, you are asked to contact police at 911, 919, or leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers at telephone number 328-TIPS. A magistrate has adjourned the $1.4 million theft trial of a former armored car company employee until February. Akel Holmes was working at ICS Security on November 2, 2023, when prosecutors alleged that he and Arnold Roberts took a bag containing $1,475,000 from a car that had been left unattended by a co-worker. The money belonged to the Bank of the Bahamas. Holmes is charged with stealing, conspiracy to commit stealing, and receiving $45,000 of the stolen money. He was not present when the matter was called. The matter was adjourned as Holmes' lawyer requested the evidence the prosecution intended to rely on at trial. Holmes' co-accused Oral Roberts was murdered in Fox Hill on July 31st. 2 other men, Michael Fox Jr. and Dino Smith, were quizzed by police over the theft, were also murdered in separate incidents earlier this year. Since then, recordings of Fox allegedly speaking to a senior police officer about the investigation have gone viral on social media as an internal investigation is underway. The Department of Education on the defense following the release of this year's national exam results, which although saw a slight improvement, still saw only 17% of candidates getting a D or above in 5 PGCSE subjects. Education officials say the results do not give an accurate picture as they can be taken over 3 years. It's an issue they're looking to address. Bertha McDermott reports.
Of the 5,935 candidates that sat the Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education exam, only 653 or 11% of candidates received a C grade or above in 5 or more subjects. That figure shows a 1.09% increase compared to 2023. However, when suggested the numbers appeared to be dismal, education officials quickly went on the defense.
We see the 3% improvement as a success. We are really thankful to our team members for what they have done. And so that may be your narrative, but it's not ours.
We have seen improvement in this year, and we are encouraged, and teachers and administrators and this ministry and parents have worked very hard in this country.
Education Director Dominique McCartney-Russell says it's expected there will be incremental improvements over the years. The Ministry of Education also reporting 431 candidates received at least a C or above in mathematics, English language, and a science subject, representing 7.26% of overall candidates. It's an increase of 123 candidates. The report also revealed an increase in results in both male and female candidates. As for the BJC, of the 10,745 candidates, 1,388 candidates received a C or above in 5 or more subjects, or 12.92% of candidates. Additionally, 1,298 candidates received at least a C or above in mathematics, English, and a science subject, or 12.08% of the overall candidates. This area saw a decrease of 0.74%.
Year over year, 2024 was very comparable to 2023. For males, there is a year-over-year increase in percentages for A and B grades.
However, the education director says the exam results do not display an exact picture.
The composition of those subjects are taken over a 3-year period, and so they cannot be compared.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks so much, Berthany. Well, overcast skies on this Friday evening. Hopefully, we see some nice weather for the weekend. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions around the islands and outside our studios. 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies, slightly humid, but we have a little bit of a breeze. East-northeast winds at 13 miles per hour, and that has shaved some temperatures or some degrees off the temperature, but it feels like 93, a little more comfortable than it was the day before. Satellite radar composite, some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms with a diffuse boundary, frontal boundary that sagged into the northwest Bahamas. Most of the activity to the west of Andros into the Florida Straits and the Gulf Stream, also across South Florida. But Andros, you guys are going to still see a couple isolated showers tonight, but this boundary will sag into the central Bahamas late tonight and into tomorrow. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your weekend forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the Grand Bahama Christian Council president says Grand Bahama's economy is stagnant. Hear why he's calling on government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority to partner. And later, instead of a vacation, why not try a runcation? Our Sasha Lightborn tells us all about the fun adventure when our news returns.
I love my EV. I am Generation E.
I am Generation E. I am Generation E.
And I am Generation E.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
The Grand Bahama Christian Council displeased with the state of Grand Bahama's economy. That confirmation coming from the president of the organization on Thursday. This says the once thriving Northern Island has seen an economic decline over the past few decades. The president says other islands like New Providence, Exuma, Eleuthera, and Long Island are growing. However, he says Grand Bahama remains stagnant.
And we have the best infrastructure for business in the entire country. So the question then is, why is that? And the answer for me is that both the government and the Port Authority has taken a laissez-faire attitude towards Grand Bahama. Now, I've listened to the Prime Minister saying that their focus is on Grand Bahama, and so I've heard him, but I want to see action. I want to see those words translated into action.
As for what he thinks will rectify the issues on the island,
both the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government needs to partner together to restore Grand Bahama economically.
All right, well, this is a time of year when a lot of people are wrapping up their summer vacations. Some may even choose to do staycations right here at home. But have you ever heard of a runcation? Our Sasha Lightborn explains.
Marathon runners always thinking about running, and sometimes it works one way or the other. When we plan a vacation, the next thing we do, we look to see if there's any runs going on, where we're going to go. Or we plan a marathon, and then we look at where and how we can enjoy ourselves on that particular run.
And that's how Charles Johnson, who has been a member of Bahamas Roadmasters for a long time, sums up what a runcation is. Fellow member Gretel Hanna also chimed in.
It's not only just a vacation, it's also, you find that when you're training, you look at what you eat, you look at your health, how you can keep yourself healthy, and so it's a well-rounded sport where you could enjoy it with families, but we also look at how we can better ourselves as far as health-wise.
And Mother Nature plays a key role when it comes to planning these runcations.
Most countries try to plan their marathons in the cooler months, their cooler months. But of course, like we ran in Brazil, and that was supposed to be their cooler month, and it was hot. So as a club, they're always encouraging us to run later in the mornings so that you can catch sun and you could climatize yourself to those conditions.
And the real benefit of the runcation?
Most of us are convinced that it is better to invest in ourselves with regards to our health rather than investing with the doctors, so to speak.
Bahamas Roadmasters is preparing for their big half marathon scheduled for November, where the title sponsor is City of Hope Cancer Treatment Center. Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Coming up in sports, action begins today in the Goodwill Games, and in the WNBA, Jonquil Jones returns to the court.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th, only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What are you?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need you 25 cents no more.
Coverage from the 28th edition of the Goodwill Games is brought to you by KFC.
Finger licking good.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Things got going in the pool today for Team Bahamas at the Goodwill Games. Sasha Lightbourne brings us the latest from St. Lucia.
Swimmers are excited about competition, which is already underway at the Robert Heights Aquatic Center in St. Lucia. The opening ceremonies took place at 4:30 and competition began an hour after. But critical to competition is ensuring that the kids stay fit and ready. And taking the lead in that vein is lead physiotherapist Jenna Gibson.
What we want to do is promote recovery. Because they have so many races to swim, we want to make sure that they're able to function at an optimal level. So we make sure that they're hydrated, we make sure that they're stretched, we make sure that they have any aches and pains, move any lactic acid out the way, just so they can perform and perform well.
One of the key aspects of Gibson's job, stretching.
When you stretch, you want to prevent injuries or any type of spasms from happening.
And unlike with a Carifta team, there are much younger swimmers on a Goodwill Games team. I asked Gibson how she deals with them.
It's important that they know how to stay healthy, to have longevity in their career so we can have more Bahamian Olympic athletes. So this is where it starts.
Now be sure to stay tuned to our News social media pages, as well as tune in tomorrow for our Sports Weekend for a full recap of day one of competition, as well as where Team Bahamas stands. Reporting from St. Lucia for our News and our Sports, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
A pair of Bahamian national team members were recognized as two of the top collegiate prospects in America. VJ Edgecombe and AJ Storr are two of the 20 collegiate college counselors participating in the NBA superstar Damian Lillard Formula Zero Elite Camp. Lillard and his team handpicked 20 of the top high school players and 20 of the top college players across the United States for the event in Phoenix, Arizona. Storr heads into his junior season and is first with the Kansas Jayhawks, while Edgecombe heads into his true freshman year with the Baylor Bears. Both players were part of the senior men's national team program this summer in their run towards Olympic qualification.
Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty resumed the WNBA season last night in LA.
The Liberty picked back up where they left off before the Olympic break with a dominant 103-68 win over the LA Sparks last night. Jones finished with 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in just 21 minutes. She reached another career milestone Thursday night. She became just the 12th player in WNBA history with more than 3,500 points, 2,000 rebounds, and 300 blocks.
It's Friday. What's a weekend without top plays? Lucky for you, you'll never have to figure out because you've got us.
At number 5, the WNBA is back, the Liberty are still the Liberty, and JJ is still JJ hitting threes.
No matter what league it's in, Chavez Young is a walking highlight reel.
Coming in at number 3, a couple hits, a couple RBIs, a couple steals. This is the Sebastian Walcott experience in High A. Don't think we'll see him there much longer though.
At number 2, it was a great play, but not so great result. Jazz with a heads-up base runner to score the run, but you know what happened.
And finally, at number 1, over to the AID Clay Court Championships. Here's a random person completely unrelated to the program, by the way, with the serve, the volley, and eventually wins the point.
That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Did you really just make yourself number 1 on top plays?
It was fan submitted. The fans love me.
If you would like to be featured on Top Plays, hit us up at info@10ys.com or hashtag 10ys top plays. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, looking to better manage your finances? Well, a virtual seminar to build savings and financial literacy set to take place this weekend. And cloudy weather conditions in the capital today. Greg is back with your extended weather when our news continues. Stay with us.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I read you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
This is our news. Welcome back. We are still watching Ernesto, which is basically moved out of our neck of the woods, but it left a trailing trough across the Bahamas, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms associated with that boundary. Most of the activity now to the west of Andros into the Gulf Stream and the Florida Straits. We will continue to see this boundary side towards the south. Should get into central Bahamas overnight, possibly making it into the southeast Bahamas by tomorrow, but we expect this boundary to lift back towards the north by Sunday, so it will bring more showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas during that time frame. Of course, Ernesto, Category 2 storm right now targeting Bermuda as we speak, should get into the Bermuda area late tonight and into tomorrow, so they will be experiencing some hurricane conditions. And of course, the system will continue to pull away. Swells from that system will continue to affect the islands, but we will see some of those swells subside by Sunday, so conditions will start to improve for boating and beaching during that time frame as well. Future forecast showing that trough hanging across our area, bringing some isolated showers and thunderstorms. Weakens some through tomorrow, but we expect the boundary to make it down just near the southeast Bahamas, and eventually the system will be moving back towards the north, bringing us some showers once again for the Sunday, Monday time frame. Boating forecast, we group everybody together. Advisory still posted for you on the Atlantic exposures. We're asking you boaters not to venture into the Atlantic due to the swells. North to northeast winds 10 to 15 knot seas 2 to 4 feet, but they will be building up to 6 to 7 feet in some east and northeasterly swells. And of course, they will be mostly along the Atlantic exposures. Tide is presently high, will be low at 28 minutes past midnight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, some spotty showers will remain in the forecast due to that troughing still hanging out across us. So we keep showers in the forecast Sunday, Monday, possibly even into Wednesday of next week. But temperatures will take a bit of a dip with the cloud mass in place. And by next week, we expect those temperatures to be back into the 90s. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night and have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks so much, Greg. Well, if you are interested in building your financial literacy, the fundamentals of investing and strategies to build wealth, a local Bahamian is hosting a virtual seminar to do just that. Okoff Securities Limited will be providing free financial literacy training to get Bahamians to improve their savings and money management. Company CEO Enin Okoff says the goal is to create a money-centric mindset throughout the Bahamas.
The goal of it is to start getting Bahamians to think more about buying back their own time, understanding how important it is to start investing at earlier ages and at all ages for not just the future versions of themselves, but even the future generations that they are going to have.
The seminars come at a pivotal time for Bahamians as the rising levels of inflation and the escalating costs of living continue to leave many cash-strapped. Moreover, a 2018 Central Bank report revealed that more than 90% of Bahamians have less than $1,000 in their bank accounts. You can join the seminar this Saturday at 10:30 by logging on to prosper.academy/website. The CEO says one key takeaway for attendees is to understand how money works.
Understanding how important it is to be able to, have emergency funds, be able to provide in specific situations so that we can kind of keep ourselves out of different scenarios is insanely important, especially for the growth of our own economy and just for our nation's overall financial health, and, individually and as a whole entire community.
All right, sounds great. And also this Saturday, an organization out of the United States called the Music Placement Conference will be hosting their Hitmaker session geared towards educating those in the entertainment industry. If you are interested in the industry or how to get your work in TV and film, our Daniel Miller fills us in on our social media platforms at Our News Bahamas. Be sure to check it out. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.